For Meyiwa murder trial continuing in the High Court in Pretoria today. The former Orlando Pirates Bafana captain was shot and killed back in 2014. Advocate Zandile Mshololo began her cross-examination of Sergeant Thabo Mosia this morning. Mosia was the first forensic officer to arrive on the scene to collect evidence. Last week, the handling of the police's crime scene investigation came under the spotlight. eNCA reporter Manqoba Mchunu is following that story for us, and he joins us now live from the capital. Manqoba, of course, this is not the first time that the defense is trying to punch holes in how the crime scene was handled, especially with this witness. Today, Zandile Mshololo taking over with cross-examination. What came out of that?
Well, Masiho, just before we get to Zandile Mshololo, in fact, from this, when this matter resumed in court, we heard from Advocate Zitulele Nxumalo, who represents accused number 4 in this matter, requesting to reopen his cross-examination, and of course the issue of the handling and the procedures that were followed by the police when collecting evidence at the house of the Khumalos on the night that For Meyiwa was killed also came under the spotlight, with Zitulele Nxumalo raising questions about the bagging and sealing of some of the crucial evidence that was found, which included the bullet projectile, which you recall, Masiho, we've heard from other witnesses that this was a particular bullet projectile that was found on the day that For Meyiwa was killed. In fact, Mosia had admitted that he did not find this bullet projectile when he went to the crime scene for the first time. He managed to only find it when he returned the next day. And of course, the question that was raised was how exactly was it bagged? Because from what we understand, the bullet fragment that was found on the scene had been bagged in a transparent plastic, whereas this particular projectile was bagged in a brown envelope. And also what we heard, which I think is crucial from what Zitulele Nxumalo had revealed in court, is that actually that bullet projectile was only tested 6 years after this incident had happened in July 2020. And of course, we also heard from Advocate Zandile Mshololo, who also took time to poke holes in his testimony, also referring to some of the statements as well as evidence that was brought before court, more specifically about the hours it took police to get to the scene. You recall that last week Thabo Mosia had indicated that he was informed of this crime 4 hours later, and in fact he had arrived at the crime scene 4 hours later. The question from Advocate Zandile Mshololo is why that delay? Why did he have to start at the hospital and not at the crime scene? And when really did he realize that he had to go to the crime scene? And of course, what the defense is trying to show here is that there was possible contamination of this particular crime scene and that he had been left unattended for 4 hours. But perhaps let's take a listen to some of that cross-examination, more specifically when it comes to the issue of the fingerprints that were taken from the scene. You recall again, Masiho, that last week Thabo Mosia had indicated that he did not swap some of the doors, the kitchen door, which was crucial, that was used by the intruders to gain entry and to leave the house, as well as one of the bedroom doors. But take a listen to that line of cross-examination.
Why the fingerprints were not taken from the door reportedly used by the suspect?
As I've already received information pertaining how the incident transpired, my expectation is that that door after the incident was frequently used after the incident.
Okay, so in other words, you did not leave any fingerprints from the door hanging because there had been a temperature with the evidence on the hanging of the door.
I don't think it's what evidence there exists.
It's because there has been an interference with the evidence, because we are saying that people were using that door to move inside and out. So as a result of that, you couldn't leave the fingerprints from the door handle.
And fingerprint more handle door entry. The car assist daylight investigation. It is so.
All right, Manqoba Mchunu live for us outside the High Court in Pretoria. Let's leave it there for now. Thank you, colleague.